Top authors, current articles are on this channel.
Why Trump voters are hurting their own cause in the midterms. The Democratic Party has no better friend at the moment than Donald Trump. An overwhelming majority of voters pronounce themselves unsatisfied with the condition of the country. Gross domestic product has fallen, inflation has taken a significant chunk out of everyone's paycheck, and President Biden's approval rating is at 40%. Even offering extra credit for a very strong labor market, Republicans ought to be a lock to retake the Senate and the House in November's midterms, with a solid shot at holding the trifecta come 2024. Instead, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican Kentucky, is warning that Republicans face an uphill battle in the Senate this year. And for that you can mostly thank Trump, who has been meddling in race after race, deterring strong candidates such as Larry Hogan and Chris Sununu, while elevating weak and inexperienced ones such as Blake Masters and Dr. Oz. The Trumpy base, which loves to see the GOP's more moderate candidates getting what for, is helping Trump to inadvertently elect Democrats. This should be evident from reverse psychology. Attack ads Democrats have been running to boost Trumpier candidates in key Republican primaries. But, of course, that sort of thing is most obvious to political professionals or to very online political junkies, except the very online political junkies who are showing up in primaries to vote for Trump's acolytes are not reading the kinds of news sources where they'll learn that they're getting played. This is the tragedy of Republican politics right now. It looks increasingly clear that Trump is doing more damage to the Republican Party than to the establishment or the deep state or whoever it is that his most ardent supporters think they're thwarting when they cast a vote for a Trump-endorsed candidate. But that information cannot break through the reality distortion field that Trump has created around himself. The most influential parts of the conservative media ecosystem are not eager to give their audience the unwelcome news that a vote for a Trump candidate might well be a vote for that candidate's Democratic opponent. Nor is the left-leaning mainstream media going to deliver that message successfully, because they long ago lost credibility with conservatives. They lost? I hear you cry. Are you claiming that liberals are to blame for Republicans going crazy? No, not in the sense you mean. Republicans are adults with full moral agency, and neither Democrats, nor the news media, forced them to pull the lever for Donald Trump. But Democrats, and the mainstream media, did things that made conservatives less likely to listen when it became clear that Trump had really gone off the rails. Try for a moment to see how the world looks to a Trump voter, which is to say, someone who probably doesn't have many friends who work in academia, or journalism, or high up in some expert bureaucracy like public health or the courts. They are aware that those folks have long viewed them with a mixture of bemused contempt and outright loathing, and they're understandably a little peeved. They're also pretty mad that Republican elected officials colluded with those elites to suppress consideration of popular restrictions on immigration and trade. That Trump is a pariah among the professional class is a feature, not a bug. The collective freakout over Trump's election and subsequent 4 years as president only strengthened this attraction, and because some of the freakouts were less than warranted, I'm looking at you, Russian collusion, they made it easier for Trump voters to dismiss the critics as hysterics. That's not to say that Trump wasn't a danger. Many of his outrages fully warranted a freakout, most notably his baseless allegations of election fraud. But convincing someone that those allegations are nonsense requires either that they have an expert command of polling and election data, or else that they trust the pronouncements of mainstream institutional sources, which, if you are a Trump voter, means trusting people who have spent much of the last 6 years explaining that you voted for Trump because you are a bigot B, a fascist and or C, too dumb to come in out of the rain. You wouldn't trust anyone who talked like that about you, either. So it's not exactly surprising that many of those voters have sided with the amoral narcissist who acts like he respects them, rather than the institutionalists who actually have the right of the matter. This is bad for the Republican Party, which is going to lose at least some elections it should have won in November, and bad for America, which needs 2 healthy political parties, and certainly doesn't need another 4 years of Trump. And it is also bad for those voters themselves, who are empowering the very liberal elites they thought they were electing Trump to fight.